finally faced some steeper competition tonight in the Lenovo Center. And I think we might have just learned a pretty good amount about this Will Wade coach basketball team.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. Our Monday evening post-game / Tuesday episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can sign up today, bet just $5, and if that $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Happy Monday evening / Tuesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, it was one hell of a basketball game in the Lenovo Center on Monday night. An 85-79, is that correct? Sorry. 85-79 victory over the VCU Rams. We knew that VCU would come to play. We knew the stiffer competition would get ratcheted up. How would NC State respond to that? There are some things I think that should be discussed, but all in all, this is a hard-fought win. This is a team that was built, like we've talked so much about, built from postseason experience, built from years of collegiate experience to come together and be essentially a team of glue guys. I saw a great take from Ryan Hammer, says that his most favorite thing about this NC State team, it's a team of glue guys. They all do the gritty stuff. They dive on the floor for the loose ball. They make the extra pass. They lift each other up when maybe some things aren't going well. This is a team that gels so well already in a game like this one. Don't discredit VCU. I thought they were impressive tonight. I don't think they're a Final Four team, but I think they're going to win a lot of ball games in the A-10 this year. I thought VCU gave us a run for our money. And in a game like that, you can learn a lot about NC State.
You know, I look at this game and I say to myself, not only are you learning a lot about NC State to the positive, but you're also learning a lot to the negative as well. You're learning things that are like, hey, this has to get cleaned up. There's no way around this. There is no way around certain things that we saw tonight where it's like, hey, I'm not sure how long this is sustainable. So obviously, now that teams have seen the path to success is to try to isolate and target Trey Holloman on the defensive end, more teams are going to do it. More teams are going to do it. He's going to be the guy seeing a lot of the actions because, number one, basketball right now is more guard-driven than it's ever been. But on top of that, you're looking at, a situation where if that's the liability, people are going to go there. And then on the inside, Van Allen Lubin, we knew, hey, he's a really good finisher, a lot of heart on the boards, a lot of really good rebounding. We knew he's not the best rim protector. So how do you kind of balance those things out? Is it a situation where you live with those liabilities because of what they bring offensively and on the glass? Or is it a situation where you say, you know what, we may need to go to Moose a little earlier. We may need to kind of change things around that way a little earlier. I'm not sure what the answer is. And I'm not saying that this is a game where, things went so wrong, you got to blow everything up. Will Wade knows ball a lot better than me. I trust him to know ball a whole hell of a lot better than me as to whether or not these are things that can be corrected or not. But to the good, this almost brings tears to my eyes, Grayson.
Explain.
14. Plus 14 on the boards, 38% from three. What have we done to deserve this? What have we done to deserve this? I mean, we for so long, undersized, and maybe we got a guy or two that can hit from deep.
Yeah.
Now, bullying teams on the boards. We're the big dogs on the block. And those big dogs can shoot. Those big dogs they can get it done. The other thing I'd like to see is taking care of the ball a little bit better. That's about it. But other than that, man, this team, it's almost difficult to quantify how much of a 180 this is from what we've seen in the past. It's almost difficult to quantify, going from situations where And I know people are going to think I'm talking about Keats, but I promise you there were coaches in recent history that this indictment goes for a lot more than him. An unwillingness to switch up defensive philosophies of what you're doing is not working.
Mm-hmm.
A complete and utter unwillingness. And to see that we were willing to make those changes, and that helped us build out that lead. That helped us to kind of be right on the cusp of blowing the doors off this thing many times. It's very meaningful. It's very meaningful. So I feel great about this team. I feel great about this win. And you'd rather learn lessons about your team in a win than a loss. And this is a game where you can walk away from saying, hey, last game, 2 turnovers, this game, 17. What's that about? What's going on here? This is a game. Oh, and somebody else just pointed out how good we've been from the free throw line. Now that is an indictment of last year's team. A complete 180.
Yeah.
Shooting from deep, shooting from the free throw, out rebounding team. This feels like I'm in Bizarro world. And I'm so grateful to have Will Wade as our head coach. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to have Darian Williams on this roster. I'm so grateful to have Trey Holloman on this roster. I'm so grateful for all our guys. I'm so grateful for Mr. Slater coming through as well and assembling this roster. I'm so grateful for all of it, man, because this is what it should feel like post-game basketball. This is what it should feel like. It should feel like, well, we were close. We gave a good fight.
Yeah.
A couple shots here and there fall. Winning is hard. At the end of the day, regardless of the sport, winning is hard. Those other guys are on scholarship too. Those other guys are receiving NIL too. Those other guys, hey, this is what it's about. The goal is to always be 1 point better than your opponent than they were tonight.
Listen, I tell you what, this win, it was not perfect. But like Kenton eloquently said there, it's much better to learn your lessons in a win than it is in a loss. I'm pleased with this win. Did we play great? I wouldn't say great. I thought we played good, and especially good enough there in the closing minutes to win. We made winning basketball plays when the game was on the line. That's the difference in a game like this one. When you have Darian Williams and other teams don't, that's going to be the difference on a lot of nights. When you have a guy like Trey Holloman and other teams don't, that's going to be a difference on a night like this one. Trey Holloman was a little bit sloppy with the ball tonight. He had 5 turnovers. But you know how you make up for it? Hello. You go 10 for 10 at the foul line to close out that game. 10 for 10. And he's like a career 79, 80% foul shooter. 10 for 10. That is how you finish a basketball game. Trey Holloman finished with 25 points, 10 for 10 at the foul line. It's going to be the little things like that. That's where you go out and you get an experienced guard from Michigan State to bring here and win you ball games like that late in the second half. This is where it counts. That's why I've talked extensively about how well this roster has been constructed. Maybe some flaws on the front court got exposed tonight. What's crazy to me is we did out-rebound VCU by 14. At no point during this game did it actually feel like that.
Yeah.
It felt like VCU was getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound, second chance after second chance. It was crazy. And so I think the numbers there are a little bit deceptive because if you did watch this game, it felt like VCU was at times being a little bit more physical than we were. And again, I want to credit VCU. That's a tough, hard-nosed team, and they gave us a run for their money, and we need games like that, especially early in the season. Like we've said, in seasons past or even games past, what do you really learn when you're winning by 48 points and you're shooting 50% from 3? Yeah, it's great. You learn you got some playmakers. You can roll the ball out to a couple guys and they'll go get you a bucket. But what you really learn is when you're up by 2 points and everybody's getting a little bit tense. It's puckered up a little bit, if you know what I'm talking about. You learn more in moments like that one. So I was pleased. I finally got the game I've been waiting to see from this team, a game where it is tense. You do have to make winning basketball plays there at the end of the game. And our team made them. Quadir Copeland, what a joy it is for him to be a senior leader on this team. Again, even when we got a little sloppy with the ball at times, winning basketball plays. He made a couple key assists there at the end of the game. Had the big steal there to actually seal the game. Stole the ball, leaning out of bounds, then threw it back to Trey Holloman, and that was it. It's the little plays that make a big difference. I thought Quadir Copeland was very good for us tonight. Despite picking up 4 fouls, had to sit out for a large part of the second half. But when he came back in, he was the closer. Him and Trey Holloman both, they were the closers for us. Darian Williams, there was a brief moment there. I thought he was going to notch another career high. He finished with 28 tonight. Probably could have had a couple more opportunities to snap that from 32 the game prior. But what what a treat it is for Darian Williams to be playing his last year of college basketball at NC State. This is one of the best players in the country. And there's only been so many times in our pretty rich basketball history where something like that has been true. In fact, it probably hasn't been true since TJ Warren. So we're looking at 12, 13 years ago. And of course, we know about the David Thompsons way back in the day, but Darian Williams is a top basketball player in the country. And it's a real treat to watch him lighten up on any given night. Something, and I've talked about this already, the most impressive thing about Darian to me is the poise. He's never rushed. He's never out of sorts. He always knows. He has a feel for the game. The situational awareness is always on 10 for him. He picked up the technical foul. That was incredibly soft. Maybe we'll cut out a couple minutes just to talk about the refereeing of late, but it's getting ridiculous. This team made the winning plays when the game was on the line, and that's the stuff you want to see. I wanted to see us struggle tonight, and I hope you know what I mean when I say that. I want to see what happens. What do you do when things get tough? What do you do when you struggle? What do you do when Paul McNeil can't hit a bucket? He had 0 points tonight. But what else do we talk about a lot, Kenton? When your shot's not falling, how do you affect the game?
Yep.
9 rebounds for Paul McNeil. He was our leading rebounder tonight, actually tied with Vin Allen Lubin. 9 boards for Paul McNeil. This team finds ways to win. And that is going to translate into ACC play and most certainly translate into March when the time comes. Going to get into a quick ad. Go ahead.
One quick thing before we go to break here. There also was a list dropped of the most impactful freshmen in America.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a certain omission from that list in terms of basketball players. And Matt Abel once again says, "Do you see me now? Do you see me now?" With another performance. The young man's a spark plug. Every time he comes into the game, you can feel his gravity and the energy shift. You could feel it right away. But that's the beauty of the way that Slater and company assembled this team. You want to put extra attention on him. How can you? You put extra attention on him, who are you going to take it away from, huh? You going to let Jared be out there by himself? You going to let D. Will out there do his thing by himself? You know, Lord forbid, him and Trey Holloman on the floor at the same time. Pick your poison. This team here, man, it's special, special stuff. I just want to give Matt Abel a shout out as well before we hit the break.
Quick ad break. We have much more to talk about. Obviously, stick with us after a quick read from our sponsors. Our Monday evening post-game / Tuesday show sponsor is FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game and you still want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets from everything who will score the next bucket to each and every fourth quarter comeback. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, and especially when your team's the one making the late push. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 back in bonus bets when you sign up, place a $5 bet, and that thing wins. Head on over to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Middle portion of our Monday evening post-game show. This is also our Tuesday episode, so hello to everyone joining us on Tuesday. 85-79 victory over the VCU Rams. Again, do I think we played a great basketball game? No, but we were good enough to win. And for tonight, I'm cool with that. The things that I think need to get cleaned up a bit. Turnovers might top the list. I thought we got sloppy, a bit too sloppy at times. And I think what hurt the most about that, because most of them felt like they came right after we forced a turnover or we got a big rebound. And then all of a sudden we can't hold on to the ball. That's something that has to get cleaned up. And I'm sure Will Wade and the rest of the staff, they're going to harp on that in the locker room post-game tonight. And, of course, practice the rest of this week before they head out west. They're flying out to Maui. That is the next game on the schedule. there's some things to work on. But again, I want to reiterate, in a kind of twisted way, I wanted to see stuff like that. I want to see us struggle. And so tonight, thought we struggled with handling the ball. Thought we struggled with some passing at time. I thought we got maybe a little bit too courageous with some of the passes we tried to complete. Just need to slow down, play a little bit less tempo. I get that's a little bit hard of an ask because this team, they want to play fast. They want to run you out of the gym. So there needs to be a better balance there, I guess you should say. But the turnovers got a little bit out of hand. I thought it gave VCU a couple more opportunities than they probably should have had. The second thing for me that I think needs to be improved, obviously moving forward, is the rebounding. And I know we did out-rebound them by 14, but really at no point did it feel like that because they had so many second chance points in this basketball game. I think it's also shocking that VCU was only 31% from the three-point line. That's another number that felt way higher when you're watching this instead of just watching the box scores. They jacked up 42 threes. So clearly they had a game plan coming into this. They wanted to test us from the perimeter and make us defend them all the way out there. I think we struggled a bit in defending them. We ran a lot of 1-3-1. It looked like, according to my eyeballs, it opened up a lot of open looks for VCU. And they only buried 13 of them, but it felt like 20 plus. And so I think when you're running into the better shooting teams, like a Louisville, for example, later on in the season, or maybe a Kansas or Auburn, they're going to make you pay for it. If you don't get out and defend them more aggressively than we did tonight, they will most certainly make you pay for it. So those are the two things in my mind that really need to get cleaned up tonight. I thought shot selection for the most part for State was pretty decent. I mean, we shot 46%, 38% from three, which is crazy because it almost felt like an off night. If your off night is 38% from the perimeter, I'll take that all season long. So all in all, certainly some things to work on. But again, this is what I wanted to see.
Yeah, and I echo your sentiments there in terms of what felt off. Taking care of the ball. Taking care of the ball has to be a really big thing. I mean, at the end of the day, the lax ball handling and passing always going to put you in a bad situation. They're always going to put you in a bad situation. And there isn't a situation. This isn't me saying, hey, this is a recurring trend. This game felt like a one-off in that way. So that's what is exciting for me because traditionally the problems that we've had as a team, they've been persistent all the way through. When we look at some of the things that we've seen in the past with NC State teams, it's been things that we say from game 1 to game 30. Yeah, this is going to be a problem. This is something we feel like is going to be a problem. Taking care of the ball has not been a problem all year. That is not something that we've looked at and said, man, this is rough. Leaving open shooters all year, that's not something that we've said, hey, this is rough. Now, some of the on-ball defense on the perimeter, a little bit dicey. Like I said, it's and I get it. I can partially understand it with the way that some of the ticky-tack calls were going. I understand how hard and how difficult that makes it to defend some of these shiftier guards and whatnot. But the reality of it is you still got to find a way to stay in front of guys without fouling. And I said this about Georgia Tech on Locked On ACC earlier today, and I'll say it here now. Winning is hard. Winning is hard. People act like, oh, you're just supposed to, blow everybody out, and every game's supposed to be a win with a ton of style points. In football, we're not even seeing that anymore. In football, Ohio State's the only team in America that's doing that. In basketball, that's never really been a thing where there's multiple teams that just run through everybody, winning every game by double digits. That's never been a thing unless you're talking about John Wooden being a coach and Kareem going by Lou Alcindor. That's the last time that we saw something like that. So the reality is, this game wasn't easy, but like you said, the taking care of the ball, and that's probably my biggest complaint. Taking care of the ball, and the perimeter defense is the only thing that I would say has been a persistent problem. We need to find guys outside of Quadir Copeland that can effectively defend the perimeter. Because if not, like you said, Grayson, we're going to run into better shooting teams. And VCU is a hellified shooting team. Let's not sit here and pretend like they're not. They're a great shooting team, but we will run into better shooting teams. We will run into guards that if they get to blow by, we're going to end up on SportsCenter top 10 on the wrong end of that thing. So, the reality is that has to get cleaned up. That's probably the only thing I saw in this game where I'm like, this is becoming repetitive. Okay. This is becoming a theme for this team. And like I said, that's the reason I said this is why some people may look at this and say, okay, the book is out. We're going to get Trey Holloman in actions. And that way, we can get to the rim, get Van Allen Lubin in foul trouble. That way they want to switch and do a lot with that. And then we can find a way to get some of their other guys in foul trouble. I get it. I understand it. But again, you take a win when you can get it. But there are some minor things that are like, hey, it's like turning the stove off, right? You do it every day, not a big time deal, until the one time that you forget to do it, until the 2 times you forget to do it, until the 3rd time you forget to do it, and now you don't got a house no more. There's significantly less house than when you had left the building. So.
Exactly. And to your point, we will run into teams that shoot it a little bit better from the perimeter. Hell, I mean, VCU typically shoots it better than they did tonight. They're about a 38% shooting team. They have multiple guys shooting over 40% on the season, held them somehow to only 31% tonight, and it made the difference. I mean, they jacked up 42 threes because they had trouble getting into the paint and making us pay from the inside. They changed their game plan, and I thought for the most part, they had a lot of success in it in the first half, and honestly, pretty late there in the second half too, but NC State did well enough, forcing our own offensive game plan. And the rebounding at the very end of the game, it was key. Van Allen Lubin did have some very big rebounds. Moussa Sanye still stepping up to be maybe the dominant force in that front court, for being 100% honest. I've seen that agenda start to get pushed ever so slightly across the media that Sanye deserves some more minutes. I would not be one to disagree at that point. I love what you're getting so far from Moussa. Still a little bit of a raw game, adjusting to American college basketball, but the energy that he gives us, it's so valuable. His ability to go up and get a board, especially in time of need, has been extremely valuable so far. So I'll be interested to see how he continues to develop, especially on the offensive side of the basketball as well. But I've been very impressed with Moussa Sanye up until this point. So closing out this portion, what was the most impressive thing you saw tonight, Kenton?
This team continues to show they can get it done in different ways with different players. Trey Holloman gets ejected 3 minutes into the game or 5 minutes into the game, whatever it is. Other guys step up. Paul McNeil can't hit a super Walmart from the parking lot. Other guys step up. Matt Abel has a night where he's not a spark plug off the bench. Other guys step up. It continues to be a rotating door of guys stepping up. And it's so interesting. It's so fascinating to see the way that this player gives it to you this night, this player gives it to you another night, this player gives it to you this night. That hasn't always been the case. There were times where it was like, hey, Cat Barber don't give you 30. We're done here.
Yeah.
Hey, if we don't get it from TJ Warren, if Tony Jr. ain't playing the hits, nobody's making no music for the Wolfpack.
That's right.
And yet, this year, we've got a multitude of guys rotating. Darian Williams is so damn good. We ain't seen him have a night where he's not playing the hits yet. But I'll tell you, with what I've seen from these other guys, I believe that they would be able to make up for that chasm if it were to happen. And mind you, a team with Darian Williams scoring at this high clip, that's a wide chasm. But this team feels like they could potentially make up for that because, again, you get nights where it's just like, oh, did Jerry put up 15 points? Huh. Did Van Allen Lubin put up 15 and 10? Oh, okay. What are we seeing? So, this is nice. This is nice.
It feels like we are a team that's going to be death by 1,000 cuts coming from 1,000 different directions. And that makes you a dangerous basketball team. The teams that experience the most postseason success, a lot of times, that is their chemical composition. They can beat you by superior rebounding. They can beat you by superior shot making, superior defense. We have a lot of elements of all of those pillars, and they kind of rise up to the surface at different times. So maybe a little bit more consistency moving forward. Again, as the competition gets steeper, you're going to have to find ways to ramp it up. I thought, again, for the 37th time tonight, when the game mattered the most, when the game was on the line, we found a way to ramp it up at the foul line, defensively, rebounding. You did enough to win the game. And again, I am expecting VCU to end up having a pretty solid season. And I don't want that to sound like a sucker comment because we only won by I don't know how 6 points tonight. I don't want this to be like, well, VCU, I mean, they're an outstanding team. I think they're a good team. I do. Do I think we probably should have won by more? Yes, because we didn't play an outstanding full, 2-half effort here. But I think VCU is a good team, and they challenged us. I can't emphasize enough how valuable it is to be challenged by a team like that, especially before you play your Feast Week tournament out in Maui. You're playing P4 schools now. You got Seton Hall coming up next, and then, of course, you're going to play the winner of whoever else is behind them. Could face Texas in the championship of that tournament. So it's good to get challenged now. You want to be seasoned by the time you start facing the big dogs like Auburn and Kansas. So impressive win tonight, gritty win tonight. They did enough to win when the game was on the line, 85-79 in the Lenovo Center. 4-0 now. We're keeping this thing moving forward. Obviously, they will not play until next Monday out in Maui. They will play the Seton Hall Pirates, but enough. They did enough tonight, 4-0 moving forward. Coming up next, we're going to close out our Monday post-game show / Tuesday show with a whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Last couple minutes of our Monday evening post-game live / Tuesday show. Hello to all of you on Tuesday. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something. 3 topics. We'll tell you exactly where we stood on them. First one here, unfortunately, I will revert back to the football game on Saturday. To me, Kenton, it felt like there was no real offensive game plan for the Wolfpack, whether that was going to be forcing the issue on the ground, being aggressive through the air. It felt like we didn't really have a plan to go either way with it. What do you make of this in that game against Miami? Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
You just got to ruin the good vibes, this Grayson.
I'm sorry. Somebody had to.
I'm going to say a whole lot of nothing, because at this point, it's not a glitch. It's a feature in the system.
Yep.
It's a feature in the. How many times have we come into a game and we walked out not knowing, like, wait, so what was our deal this game?
Yeah.
How many times, right? Especially during that losing streak, you saw, I believe the Virginia Tech game was the most glaring offense of this, because I walked away from that game saying, wait, so did we try to run it a lot, or we didn't take many deep shots, but it also didn't seem like we had the quick game going either. What was the plan? Why was the plan? Who was the plan? Yeah. And there were multiple games after that had a very similar feel. So ultimately, I will say it's a whole lot of nothing, because at this point, we know who you are. I'm not going to get worked up about stuff that we know to be true, stuff that we know to be this team. Nah, I ain't got it in me.
Second one here. We'll go back to basketball. I think we should probably just stick on basketball, for being 100% honest. Yeah. Tonight in the Lenovo Center, Darian Williams gave you 28. Trey Holloman gave you 25. Matt Abel gave you 12 off the bench. Van Allen Lubin was also in double digits with 11. Your overall thoughts on the offensive performance in a vacuum? Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
I would say a whole lot of something, because I could not imagine a world where our off night is 38% from deep. And what was the overall field goal percentage? Was it 40-something?
46.3.
This, Grayson, if you take that to last year, you pick a game. Pick the game. If somebody was to tell you that's it, out of conference, in conference, whatever, that's your off night, we would have sat there and said, no way. That you're lying to us. We're on punk. Where's Ashton Kutcher at? Somebody tell them to watch those kids. They need never mind. We ain't got to go into that right now. But Ashton Kutcher, you know what you did. Start watching those children up. So the reality is, we would all feel shocked and honored by that, and yet we're looking at a situation instead where we're saying, like, yeah, this wasn't our best performance. I would say this is a whole lot of something, because if this is what the offense, if we can expect 85 points, if we can expect, off night, we're playing against a team that's doing a pretty good job defensively. We're having players who it's just not their night, and this is what we expect. This is a whole lot of something.
I'm most certainly with you. If you're putting up 85 points, 38% from three, nearly 50% from the field overall, and that's an off night, I'm taking that all season, all 6 days a week, twice on Sunday. That'll play. That'll play in ACC league play. That'll play in the ACC conference. That'll play in March Madness once we get there. The offense is humming at the right time. Obviously, you want to get him cooking early and then maintain that consistency as the season goes on. If the main problems are going to be rebounding and defense, those are things you can tweak. If you have a team that flat out can't score, like a team that we had last year, it's going to plague you for the entirety of the season. We don't have that problem this year. And so it's a breath of fresh air, I think, if we're all being 100% honest about it. So I was pleased with the shot making tonight. The shot selection outside of there's a couple heat checks in there. I saw Darian Williams get a little cocky with it, but hey, another guy that has the forever green light in my eyes, Paul McNeil, even though Paul McNeil was 0 for 4 tonight, I don't make too much of that, especially when you make up for it with 9 boards. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're all right with me, brother.
Paul McNeil's a kid that's going to shoot himself out of many, hopefully not many, but a slump. He's going to shoot himself out of that. So 0 for 4, 0 for 7, whatever. I want him to shoot those shots. So he will most certainly be fine moving forward. But again, 85 points tonight. Even on a night that we had a lot of turnovers, got a little sloppy with it. Maybe he could have hit 100 still. I know we talked about that kind of in a joking manner, but you're only 15 points away. We played a decent game instead of a good game tonight. So yeah, certainly take that moving forward. Last one here, women's basketball. They had a relatively disappointing loss in the Reynolds Coliseum on Sunday, a 10-point loss to TCU. TCU. What are your thoughts there? How worried are you about the three-point shooting, maybe just shooting overall for Westmore's ladies?
I'm going to say the shooting woes of the women's basketball team are a whole lot of something because this is a redundant problem. We are one of the worst three-point shooting teams in America. Grayson, take a wild guess as to what the three-point shooting percentage is. Again, the average for all the games so far for our women's basketball team.
Is it below 30?
Oh, it's well below 30.
Oh, dear. 20, I'll say 24.
23. 23
right
and some change. This is, the biggest harbinger of like, oh, this is going to be a problem should have been against Maine. Against Maine, I believe we shot like 2 of 17 or something crazy like that. Whatever it was not good. And let me explain to you the problem with that, Grayson. I say this all the time. When you are playing against a quote-unquote inferior opponent, you need to show it in every single regard. And this team did not do that. Don't get me wrong. I've talked a lot about how we can score from the inside. You've got, obviously, Camille Pierre is the double-double machine on the inside. You've got a player that can do everything in Zoe Brooks, but we're not seeing it from our shooters. Zam Jones and Tilda Trigger have both been streaky from the outside. We haven't really, Devin Quigley, it's been on and off. And other than that, we've gotten precious little from deep. So there is, I struggle with this idea that, hey, this team, they need to shoot better, but it's like, can they? Is this something that they are actually capable of? Because now that I'm looking at it against Maine, it was 3 of 20 from deep, 15% from deep against Maine. That's worrisome. The only hope that I have here is that this is just a slump at the wrong time. This is just a slump during one of the toughest non-conference schedules there is in women's basketball, because we all know when the question is, Westmore, how many ranked teams can you schedule in non-con? What's the answer, Grayson?
There ain't enough. He wants them all.
Yes is the correct answer. That's his answer every single time. So, you look at this and you say, if they can figure out these shooting woes, everything then opens up, right? Everything opens up. You now see a higher field goal percentage on the inside because teams can't just double and triple Camille Pierre as soon as it comes down to her. You now see better defense because when you hit shots, you get to get back and set your defense. Now, granted, Westmore coach teams do an amazing job of recovering from their opponent getting a defensive rebound and trying to push. So we're not terrible in terms of allowing fast break points, but you need shooters to space the floor for a Camille Pierre to do her work on the inside, for a Zoe Brooks to do what she does off dribble penetration. And then from there, once that paint is freed up as well, and once these players are more confident with their shot, Zam Jones, it feels a lot like what Isaiah James was early in her career, where it's like when her shot's falling, everything's going good. She's taking good care of the ball. She's playing better defense, all those things. Zam Jones feels like she's very much so in that same space, because the other half of that for Isaiah when she was young was when that shot wasn't falling, everything went haywire. Zam is in that same place right now. If she can grow out of that, or if she could just start hitting shots to where she gets the opportunity to see all the other great things she can do and really get into that, we'll be fine. But right now, it's a really bad struggle from deep. So it's a whole lot of something, because like I said, with the men's basketball team, it is it's whether or not it's a repetitive problem is what I know. And right now, our women's shooting, that is a repetitive problem from the exhibition to game 1 to game 2 to game 3, and now our most recent game against TCU.
It just feels like they're pressing a bit. And if there's any coach, in addition to now Will Wade, we know that Westmore is going to figure it out. He's a master with the roster composition. He's going to get these women playing at a much higher level in a very short amount of time, because he always has. But these last couple games, especially the second half, mainly the, late the third into the fourth quarter of the USC game and now bleeding into this TCU game, there's pressing. The shot selection has not been very good. Yeah. Too much dribbling. They're asking almost too much of Zoe Brooks to try and essentially do everything. She's holding onto the ball for far too long. We're not really running any sets. It almost feels like just kind of freestyle at times. There needs to be a little bit more structure, maybe play a little bit slower of a tempo, get back into easing things, make it feel easy. Let the offense come easy to you. Just feels like they're getting a little bit too tense, pressing a little bit too much, certainly missing a lot of bunnies as well. I've missed a lot of layups through only 3 or 4 games so far this season. So it'll come with time. I think this team will continue to gel, but I was a little bit concerned by that loss to TCU. I think we are a better team than TCU, and certainly let one get away from us in Reynolds Coliseum. That will do it for us here. Monday evening post-game live. This is also our Tuesday show. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Men's basketball wins 85-79 over the VCU Rams. A good win moving forward. We'll see how they play in Maui coming up next week during Feast Week. That will do it for us here this evening and for us here on Tuesday. As always, be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box, mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll catch you back here on Wednesday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.